My first Xbox.
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 My first Xbox. Man, so many stories. It almost feels destined for me to be an Xbox supporter and a fan of the platform. I remember it like it was yesterday. November 15th, a very special day because that's also Cog's birthday. And the OG, I remember the OG Xbox, Duke controller. Just them coming into the industry. They debuted in New York City, Bill Gates, The Rock. It was such a phenomenon. And I remember hearing about it. I'm like, all right, Microsoft in the gaming sphere. I gotta see. I remember reading reviews about Halo and it being a killer app. So as a gamer, I had to know what this system was about. But I've been with them ever since. It's just been tremendous journey to see their transformation and evolution over the years. To see all the things they brought to the game. As a techie, one thing about the Xbox ecosystem I've always liked is them pushing technology forward. Obviously the hard drive in the OG, the custom soundtracks, the Ethernet cord, the origins of Xbox Live, how we communicate with each other in gaming. And 20 years of Xbox is a big deal. It truly is. It represents to see their journey as a company that wasn't really known for gaming, and then to kind of get into it, lead the charge, have a tremendous generation after it with the 360, and then continue on. We see back compat and cloud and, all these things that you see are kind of fruits of things they started. And I got to celebrate them. For me, I'm a very social gamer, co-op gamer. Xbox definitely plays to that for me. A lot of cooperative aspects and social gaming, Xbox party chats. Some of my best friends, the podcast, ILO podcast wouldn't be here without Xbox. So shout out to everybody who I've met along the way, and happy 20th, happy birthday to me and to Xbox at the same time. So salute to the entire community, and looking forward to celebrating this one. This one's going to be a special one. Xbox 20, my first Xbox, the OG Xbox Duke controller with the black and white camera buttons. Remember that? And the controller's so damn big you can hurt a child with it. But that's what I got. Happy birthday, Xbox. Happy 20th. Peace.
My first Xbox is the Xbox Series X. Actually, just as a confession here, I'm brand new to the Xbox ecosystem. I picked mine up about 4 or 5 months ago. What really changed my mind was Game Pass. Game Pass is an incredible value. I know it's a meme, but that's true. That's why I decided to jump on it and get into the ecosystem. Since then, I've been able to explore some of Xbox's past through Game Pass. Most importantly, fallen in love with the Forza Horizon series. And at this point, now I'm playing Forza Horizon 5, and it's amazing. But while a lot of people are going to be looking at the past here, I'm more excited about what's coming up in the future. There's so many studios now that Xbox has gotten, and a dearth of properties. And whether you're going to be looking at some of the Bethesda titles, whether it's Starfield, Elder Scrolls, whatever's coming from id, or some of the other studios in terms of Obsidian, what do we have going on there? And all the other major studio acquisitions that have happened. I'm more excited about what my future is with Xbox going forward. So, congratulations on 20 years, Xbox. It's a great milestone.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, Adam Gumby, and I'm here to talk about my first Xbox. So the story kind of starts, I'm an old man. So as a kid, I wanted the original Xbox for Christmas. I'd saved up a little bit of money and was like, hey, Mom, help me out. I'm going to get this for myself because I'm going to treat myself. We ended up going on a vacation to Florida. She's like, hey, relax, calm down, keep your money. We'll see when we come back from vacation. Maybe we can figure something out for you. So we went down to Florida, trying to enjoy that vacation in dead of winter. It's 68 degrees. Everyone's wearing snow coats. And I'm in the condo. And, I'm just like watching TV, going through Xbox magazines, looking at Game Informer, trying to be excited for this new console I'm going to get whenever we get home. Christmas morning comes and Mom pulls out the box, hey, here you go. We got you. So on vacation on Christmas in Florida is when I got my first Xbox. as a gift, even though I had the money sitting there waiting for me. It was awesome. I was glad I didn't have to wait any longer. And I sat in the condo basically for the whole vacation time in Florida playing Xbox. Halo 1, of course, the original. And then the Sega GT slash Jet Set Radio double pack were the games I was playing that whole week that we were there. So that was a great time. I loved it from the start and have been there ever since. So that's my first journey with my Xbox.
My first Xbox was actually the original Xbox. No, it's not this one in particular. This one's actually just this green Xbox that I got, in my adult life. I was a dumb kid who actually sold my very first Xbox to buy my Xbox 360 at launch because, that's what people did back then. But I remember buying my original Xbox in 2003. I had actually bought it in a combo pack that came out that was pretty common at the time that had Amped and Halo Combat Evolved in it, which was pretty cool. I had actually played Halo previously at a friend's house back in 2001. He actually had bought an Xbox at launch, and we were playing, network cable, like system link parties where we would basically play like 16 players on 4 different TVs, on 4 different Xboxes with 4 different copies of the game. And it was amazing. This was, of course, long before, Xbox Live actually came about and was actually a thing. But I bought the GameCube at launch, which is why I didn't actually end up buying an original Xbox at the time. I kind of waited a little bit because I wanted to make sure there was like a pool of games just outside of Halo that were games that were really interesting to me. And I really kind of hit that tipping point when Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic came out. One of my all-time favorite games. Again, it came out in the summer of 2003. So I knew I had to pick up my original Xbox right away and I kind of bought the system and the games for Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, again, there was enough on the console already that I was really interested in, and it just was kind of a tipping point where essentially there were more and more things released where I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. That, again, we didn't really get on GameCube, or you'd play like first-person shooters like Red Faction 2, for example, on GameCube, and they were just not as good as versions on other consoles, specifically the original Xbox, which was, for those that didn't know, the original Xbox was really the best console for third-party games at the time, at least in 99.99% of cases. There are some odd cases where it wasn't as amazing, but it's a console that I've grown to love over the years. I actually have a pretty large original Xbox collection. I'm only I'm like 170 games away from completing the full set. One of the big ones I'm kind of missing is Steel Battalion with the controller. But for the most part, it's a lot of the sports games and stuff like that, because there were a lot of sports games on the original Xbox. And, I don't know how many of those I want to, have cluttering my house though. And then it all kind of led to some of my favorite games of all time. We had the Grand Theft Auto trilogy on there, Knights of the Republic 1 and 2, Halo 1 and 2, and of course, one of my all-time favorite games, Ninja Gaiden Black, which was actually exclusive to the original Xbox. It is playable today if you've got a Series X or S, but this game was amazing. So yeah, hats off to the original Xbox. I'm not going to actually pull my hat off here, but I love the original Xbox. I think it's an amazing console, and I'm so glad I decided to pick it up. And God, I can't believe it's been 20 years since the console came out, so happy birthday, Xbox.
My first Xbox story begins with the original Xbox. It wasn't mine, it was my boyfriend's, now husband's. He brought it over to my place, and I just remember him crushing Halo constantly. He was just in my room crushing Halo constantly. My first actual experience with my own Xbox, well, one that we shared, we lined up. We waited outside. We were the first to get an Xbox 360, and my playing time with it mostly consisted of playing a lot of Elder Scrolls. I loved Oblivion so much. I just poured so many hours into it. That was my first experience with a true RPG, an American RPG that I absolutely fell in love with. So I have to thank Xbox 360 for that, for really pulling me into the video game world. I had before that previously really just played a lot of Nintendo. I was big on Nintendo, I had a Sega Genesis. It wasn't until my Xbox 360 where I felt like, okay, I think I can identify as a gamer. It's because of Xbox.
My first Xbox was the OG bundle of Sega GT Racing 2002 and Jet Set Radio. I spent most of 2003 playing Jet Set Radio, Halo Combat Evolved, and Knights of the Old Republic. They were my 3 go-to games for the longest time on the original Xbox. I did dabble into Fusion Frenzy and Crimson Skies later on, Dead or Alive, beach volleyball as well, back in the day, but primarily Halo, Jet Set, and Knights. Knights will always be synonymous with Xbox to me. It's the first time I played it, first time I fell in love with it, and I played through Knights of the Old Republic probably about 10 different times, back in from 2003 to 2004. They won my heart back then. And I am absolutely loving what they're doing now with the X Series X and Game Pass. And backwards compatibility is amazing as well. We can play all those old OG games and the 360 games as well. All right. Have a good day.
My first Xbox was an Xbox 360, and I came about it during my college years. In my first year as a freshman in college, the Xbox 360 was out. It was making waves for games like Dead Rising and then, of course, Gears of War. I saw Gears of War in the media outlets, as it were, and being a college kid, could not afford one. So what did I do? I did what any reasonable kid would do. I went and sold plasma down the road. Me and some dorm mates, we all went and started selling plasma, saving up for our various Xbox 360s to have some outings there. And once I'd had enough rounds of that, I brought my first Xbox 360 home, booted up Gears of War, put on a mic for the first time in any video game to have live conversations via Xbox Live. It was incredible and it was surreal. And it started a journey that I am so proud to still be on to this day. Gears of War was a really special game, but more importantly, my experiences with that game and my first Xbox really brought me friendships that I still have to this day. It brought me an experience in gaming that told me it could be more of a communal thing. I had people stopping by my dorm room, jumping in, poking their head in. What's that game? What are you playing? And I experienced so many incredible games in that first year of owning an Xbox. And not just that, I was introduced to franchises that to this day I still love. Games like Halo, of course. I was introduced to Alan Wake in that first few years. And now I'm playing Sea of Thieves with 25 million other players. And I'm diving in, looking forward to Halo Infinite. I'm having an absolute blast with Forza Horizon 5. It started a journey that for me has resulted in so many incredible friendships. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that I had the chance to attend FanFest in 2019 with Sean Capri when I was part of the Xbox Drive. And that remains to this day one of my most favorite memories in my entire lifetime. I've built friendships with people thanks to Xbox, thanks to gaming. It was that time where gaming could have stepped away from my life, but my first Xbox did something very special for me, and in many ways changed the course of kind of what I do as a hobby and where I find friendships with so many other people. And could not be more grateful for the work that the people at Xbox do and the people all throughout gaming do in order to let us build those relationships and have those memories. And here we are upon the 20-year anniversary of the original Xbox, which started a journey for many people that I didn't jump into until much later. But for all the novels read in the Halo and Gears universe, for all the conversations and late nights had discussing games, arguing about kill-death ratios, and experiencing the stories of Dom, Marcus, and so many other incredible characters that Xbox has delivered, I am grateful for my first Xbox, for the experiences that I've had, and I look forward to so many more of them in the future. Thanks for having me on, guys. Cheers to you guys on Assemble XP. Cheers to you all watching. And then if you're at Xbox, thank you guys for 20 years of making games better for us. Take care.
For me, my first Xbox was the 360. I'd always grown up with other consoles, and I first dived into the Xbox 360 and the Xbox ecosystem a little late in the game. But for me, when I got the 360, I had so many games to be able to experience for the first time. Gears of War, Halo, all of these games, the Forza franchise, these were the main ones that I played. And I played them on my 360. And stuff that stands out to me even back then was just how much I enjoyed the community aspect to it, how I like the interface and how the UI worked. It felt like it spoke to me a lot more than others did. And I felt like it was just doing something really special. And it was funny how the 360 was something that I got later, and I felt like it was something that I really, really could click with. And I love the controller. And as Xbox evolved from then on, I was into the Xbox One on launch. I got it. I got the One X. I have the Series X. And it's funny for me because I didn't think that Xbox was the console of choice for me. I've always been on the other side, and it's just funny how it has evolved. And every iteration, everything from the 360 onward, Xbox has had my attention, and the games and the quality of the experience that they produce, I absolutely love it. And so my first Xbox is 360, just for being able to kind of have these next level experiences, and coming late to the game when games like Halo and Gears were already out. I love being able to go back through the back catalog and realizing that there are these phenomenal games out there. And so my first Xbox for me is just pure nostalgia.
My first Xbox. Okay. So it was 2008. And up until that point, I had been a Nintendo only kid. Well, technically I started with Sega, but you get the picture. Nintendo only kid. Nintendo 64, Game Boys, Game Boy Advances, GameCubes, Wiis. And then in 2008, I became a freshman in high school. And all of my friends were Xbox. Halo, Call of Duty, Gears of War, things like that. And I still love Nintendo, still play Nintendo to this day. But I was like, all right, if I'm going to play with the big boys, I'm going to have to get an Xbox. So my first Xbox was an Xbox 360 Arcade Edition. Now, the big difference with the Arcade Edition was that it came with 256 megabytes of on-storage memory. So back in the day, the Xbox had the core system with no hard drive, and then the deluxe or something like that with the hard drive, the 20 gig hard drive. And the Arcade Edition came with 256 megabytes of onboard memory, which is essentially enough to make your gamer tag and save your games in a couple games. So I'll never forget with those 256 megabytes downloading like a Banjo-Kazooie demo, downloading the cold storage map on Halo 3, the one DLC map I was able to download for Halo 3. And my first ever video game was, as I just mentioned, Halo 3. Of course, Halo 3, iconic game. We all know about it. We all know and love it. Incredible game. A great way to end that trilogy. But there was some discussion, point of contention of, do I get Halo or do I get Gears of War 2? Because that was the big game that came out that fall, whereas Halo was the year before. And I had grown up loving Halo. I didn't own an original Xbox, but I played it at, family friends' houses, my neighbor's house. So I had like bits and pieces of like certain original Xbox memories here and there. But I still knew and loved Halo, playing Halo 1 and 2 co-op with my neighbor. So I still had a great love and reverence for that franchise. So I knew Halo was the big deal. And actually, my cousin, who is one of my best friends, and we've gamed for years growing up together, he was a huge Halo guy over Gears of War. So that played a role in terms of what games I was going to get and play. And because we can't talk about Xbox without Xbox Live, which when I got my Xbox Arcade, I didn't get Xbox Live immediately. I actually I got my Xbox Christmas of 2008, and I didn't get Xbox Live until May 2009. So there was like 6 months of no online capability, just playing Halo 3 campaign, a couple other games that I was borrowing from my friends, Fallout 3, Gears of War 2, things like that. Just, 4-player split screen, multiplayer, all that stuff. And but it was a brand new ecosystem, right? Like I just was so enthralled with. I mean, we are it's so commonplace now, but gamer score, things like that, and that was just such a huge deal. But when I got Xbox Live, I also got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, one of the biggest and best Call of Duties, one of the most iconic Call of Duties. Incredible campaign. I still think about that campaign to this day, and how much it gripped me. Yeah, the multiplayer is incredible. Started the perk system for Call of Duty, I believe, yeah, for multiplayer, yeah. Downloadable content, online matchmaking, much more commonplace at that point compared to some of the earlier online Call of Duties. So just an incredible game. And so that was Call of Duty 4 was like my first online multiplayer experience. And like I said, with Halo 3, it was an older game, only a year old, but still a little bit older. Got that over Gears of War 2. Same thing with Call of Duty 4. I got Call of Duty 4 over the new Call of Duty at the time, World at War, because all my friends and my cousin were just talking up Call of Duty 4 so much more over Call of Duty World at War. So, yeah, those are some of my Xbox memories. I could go on and on. Matt and Court, I'm sorry for going on way too long. I love you guys. I love Xbox. Happy 20th anniversary for the Xbox brand. So many special memories in my life and millions of others' lives. And we all love gaming, and gaming can give us some of the best stories and friendship moments and all that over the years. So happy 20th Xbox, and here's to 20 more.
My first Xbox. So my first Xbox was the OG, big giant VCR looking, might as well put a cassette with a giant X on it with the green on it, the OG Xbox. And it was the very first console, that I purchased myself. Every other console I got, my Nintendos, everything, my dad always got them for me, but my Xbox is one that I personally purchased. So it has a lot of sentimental value. I still have it. It's at my parents' house. I purchased it. It was the very first purchase when I graduated university, was the Xbox. But I still look at the Xbox 360 as my first venture into loving Xbox. And the Xbox 360 is always going to hold a very big sentimental value to me, because a lot of the franchises that I play currently, like the Assassin's Creeds and even the BioShocks, all these games that I enjoy as some of my favorite games of all times, I played them first on the Xbox 360. So to me, Xbox is always going to hold that special place in my heart, where it made me the gamer I am today. It sounds weird, but it's true. Without the Xbox, I don't think I would have had all these experiences playing Halo with friends and all these things that made me enjoy video games. And now my daughter's first console is the Xbox Series X and S. And that even holds even more value to me. And I got her own Design Lab controller with her name on it. And I've told her that Xbox is hers. So her first console is going to be an Xbox. And that's huge. Thank you, Xbox.